In 2025, this is all the world's births. This is Europe. Look at that. That's Europe. That's all of Europe's births. Isn't that wild? 680,000 in the UK, 708,000 in Germany. Russia, 1.2 million. I'm surprised they put Russia in there. But look at that, 6.2 million in all of Europe. North America, 7.6 million. US is now under the replacement rate. Mexico, 2 million. That's it. North America, 7.6. South America, they used to pump out babies like crazy. Brazil leads with 2.5 million, but only 5.6 million. So all of Europe, North America, and South America, you're talking like 20 million. Now, Africa. Nigeria alone is having 1 million births more than all of Europe combined last year. Ethiopia, 500,000 more than the US. Now, Africa will never be, at least in our lifetime, a powerful economic continent because of the reasons we talked about, of why they were held back so much, especially because of the land. But there's a lot of people there. So there's a lot of resource there as well from economic sides. Careful of what? If you don't know, one of the main reasons why Africa never was able to develop is the fact that there was no real rivers outside of the Nile up there, and how before the invention of cars and railroads and what like that, the only way to move stuff was through rivers, and that's why they never were able to have trade, and they were never able to have developments and stuff like that. And then you get to colonization, which held them back even further, and now you've got war and shit. That's just history, little bro. Being landlocked is you can't develop. I mean, think about it. One of the reasons America was able to develop so much was the rivers, right? You were able to move stuff down the Mississippi River, all the rivers, right? Europe, lots of rivers. China, Asia, lots of rivers. Okay, South America, Amazon, other rivers. You're able to do that. Well, South America didn't really develop as much, but that's also the U.S. But I'm talking about like prior to the intervention. Africa, you just can't. I mean, what do? You can't go inland because by the time you grow crops and try to deliver them via caravan, they're gone. So you're unable to build up, massive infrastructure without being able to feed people. And so that was a huge problem for them. Now, North Africa, a little bit different because they had the Mediterranean, and you could ship things, from one to another. But even there, they weren't massive players outside of the reason their economy went up, though, was because they traded with other countries because they had salt and gold and things like that. Now Egypt had the Nile. So see what happens? The one country in Africa that had a river was the one that was the major powerhouse. You see, it's just how that works. So there's a massive amount of people, but even to this day, one of the reasons you have starvation in Africa, a lot of people don't understand this. They say, oh, well, they're starving in Africa because, of things that were happened with intervention and colonization, stuff like that. Separate thing there. While that did take a lot of resources and hurt a lot of the growth, there was never that ability to do so because there's just no way of transporting food. It's very, very difficult. Now we have roads and trucks and stuff like that, but for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years, there just wasn't a way to grow crops and then where those crops were grown, transport them places. So it became this that's why it's inside the middle of the continent, it's like a desert, and not the physical desert like the Sahara, but I mean like as far as where they're at, you don't get the rain, you don't get the rivers because of the way it's landlocked. So it's been like a nation around the coastline, but even the coastline is difficult because you're having to traverse the ocean. So that's something that we've seen there. Their population is still increasing, especially since we've had vaccines and malaria, Ebola, and other things. The vaccinations have really helped. That's why the population's growing, because there was so many deaths. I mean, the biggest killer in the world is a mosquito. Mosquito accounts for 800,000 deaths a year because of malaria and other things, like Zika and shit like that. But then you've got Asia. The crazy thing is, though, is that China's actually reversing. They're having more deaths than births now because we talked about the one-child policy and how they, forced, 300 million forced abortions, and then they sterilized people. They had the one-child policy. By the time they reversed it, it was too late to get into a replenishment cycle. And then when they developed, people were working more and they had less time for kids. And so it just became this problem, and they can't fix it up because they don't do immigration either. So now you've got another issue where China is still responsible for a lot of births, but they're actually declining. They're actually seeing a population reversal. They saw 62 million net negative 2 years ago, and I think another 35 million net negative last year. Pakistan is a very populated country. A lot of people forget that because we think of it like it's a small country out there. And that's another country. I said Bangladesh Bangladesh still, Indonesia, and India. 23.1 million births. India is now the most populated country in the world, and they're actually seeing an expansion here. Been there a minute. Glad to be here. Wasn't colonization slowing down infrastructure building, or are they completely separate things? That definitely slowed it down. But I'm saying that a lot of the nations and a lot of the empires, a lot of the whatever around the world were developing in the Rome and you know, even before that you had, and then after that you had, of course, you had the Dark Age for a little bit, but then the Middle East was blowing up in there, and then the Middle East gave birth to the Renaissance because we like learned shit that we forgot about the Romans from them again, and then you had the Renaissance. So all the time before that colonization happened, there was no development in Africa because there just wasn't a way. You have to understand, when you are trying to develop things, you have to be able to bring in infrastructure, and you have to be able to bring in food to fulfill the people, right? And so when you have that issue, there's no way to make a population center. There's no way to build infrastructure, because how are you going to bring in supplies to build a city if you don't have a river to traverse that? You see what I mean? How are you going to have a big population center if you can't feed them? So just so you guys know, this is a very good context of where the world's births are happening right now. This is a huge imbalance here. I mean, just India alone has more births than Oceania, Europe, North America, and South America combined. What about Brazil never using the Amazon? Well, that's different because the Amazon was a massive jungle, still is, but was massive jungle. It's not like there was a place for them to grow food upriver and then bring it down. You know what I mean? But they did use the Amazon. I mean, look at Brazil's population, and they still utilized it. I mean, these were developed nations. I mean, Colombia, you know, and Venezuela and Brazil, the ones that are downriver from the Amazon, they were more developed. A lot of that came from colonization and actually helped trigger a lot of that, but they still were able to utilize it. But this wasn't something that was like used for trading from one area to the other, because the Amazon was just a big difference. Big difference between the Great Plains of the United States and the Mississippi River, right? Because listen, think about it. In the Great Plains of the United States, you grow all the crops, right? Think about it. Think about the breadbasket of America. You know, you've got Nebraska and Oklahoma and Wyoming, and you've got, you know, Colorado. You've got all these places in the middle, right? Tennessee and Kansas. And then you can then harvest that, bring it to the Mississippi, bring it down, okay, stop along the way, bring it down to New Orleans, then split it up into ships, and the ships can go through the Panama Canal, okay, over to the West Coast. They can go to Florida. They can go up around the East Coast. So now you get to instead of trying to get, you know, 1 ton from the Midwest to New York City and taking you a month, you can get 50 tons and get it there in a week. Aren't birth rates in India also slowing down? Yeah, because anytime a country becomes more economically developed, the birth rate declines every single time, right? You get more women in the workforce. You get people working longer hours. You get people moving into smaller areas and smaller apartments and buildings because they're being closer to the city center. Costs of things rise as well, so it's less affordable. You don't live out in where you can sustain your own food and your own stuff like that. It just becomes more difficult. How do we solve the problem? Well, it depends on what you think the problem is. If you think the problem is an economic slowdown, then immigration is the best way. Usually, and people don't like this, but the way that these countries sustain is by importing, for lack of a better word, people from these nations. That's how you replenish your population. You get nations that have an abundance of people, and you import them, or we call immigrate, get them to immigrate to your nation. And that's how you replenish your population. The problem is a lot of people are like, yeah, but they ain't they ain't us, and they're gonna breed us out of existence, and then it won't be a real America. What the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like, that's just how this works. Like, that's how it was. Like, that's how you replenish a population. That is just a Band-Aid, and not everything is about economics. I was legitimately explaining it from an economic standpoint. I said, if you're, what's the difference? So stolen is when you go in and take something, okay, and be like, I'm not giving it back without force, right? You just stole it. You just walked in and just said, this is mine. You can't have it. Conquered land is when you go in and you fight the people there, and then you win and you take it. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but there is a difference. For example, the land that we conquered was conquered by someone else. There's no land on this entire planet that was not stolen or conquered. Everybody stole it from somebody who also stole it or conquered from somebody. That's just how it works. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but you can't go around being like, well, you stole this land, or you conquered it. It's not, and they conquered it from the people who conquered it before. Like, it's what history is. It's what animals do too. It used to work. Now the government and huge corporations just abuse it. Oh my God. Telling you what something is Does not mean I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking glad about that's the way it is. But like, it is like, for example, it's like, hey, the Americans came in and killed and conquered the native people that were here. You're right. They did. And those native people had killed and conquered the other native people that were there and took it from them. And they did the same. And it's like, and then one day somebody will come here and conquer us and have our land. That's how it's worked. You know, it's not good, but that's just how it's always worked. You know, the funny thing is, you ever wonder why the Aztecs were conquered by 500 Spanish guys? It wasn't 500 Spanish guys. It was 500 Spanish guys and tens of thousands of other tribes who had been wiped out and genocided by the Aztecs, who then helped the Spanish defeat them before disease got them. Like, they were conquered and massacred and genocide happened, and they're like, hey, we're going to help you take these guys down. Like, that's how that worked, you know? I'm not saying it's good, but like, try not to forget history. Like, the Spanish never would have got in there and the disease spread if it wasn't for that, because that's how conquering works. Again, please don't confuse conquering with like, oh, Stocky loves the idea and thinks it's fair and square. I didn't say shit's fair, but that's how it worked. Give you an example. During the French and Indian War, the French and Indian War, when the French and the Native Americans teamed up and fought the Brits and their Native Americans. Dude, the Native Americans, the shit they did to each other was insane. They actually, in some cases, there's recorded history where the ones on the French side, they got like the fucking nut ones, and like they captured the Native Americans that were like fighting on the British side, and like took them into like a town center, like one of their villages or whatever, and tied a bunch of them up, and then like boiled some of them alive, and then ate them. And that Native American tribe was like, all right, fuck it, we're not with the British anymore, we're with you. Like, that's just like what they like that. What the fuck, you know what I mean? Like, welcome to humans. We're all shitty people. Again, you're making it seem like I'm justifying it as right. I'm just telling you that's part of conquering, right? Like, you know, whether they conquered it fair and square, like, okay, we all lined up and shot at each other, and one had more people standing at the end, so it's a fair fight, versus, you know, what they did, you know, in some like atrocity or something like that. This isn't about fair or not. I'm just saying, I hate the idea of it's calling it stolen land. It's like, oh, those people were peacefully there. They had gotten it. It was theirs. They owned it. They built it, stuff like that. And somebody came in and took it. It's like, hey, you conquered this, then they came in and they conquered you, so now it's theirs. It's like, it's a bloodshed throughout history, and that's how land was taken. You know what I mean?